Today's talk, the title is Design of Fingertip Force Sensing System for Understanding of my previous lectures of HWWE. I'm very fascinated about this conference and I am happy to be attached with this society for a very long passage since 2007. In my most of the lectures, the application of EMG is considered. This application of EMG activity is whole based on the neuromuscular system, or rather we can say the central nervous system. I had explained many applications of EMG in my previous lectures of HWWE, where I tried to find out the ways where EMG can be applied to assess the human fatigue in industrial operations. When we talk about industrial fatigue in human operations, the understanding of the signal is important. The signal is generated in muscles, but it is because of the neural activity. Brain sends the signals through motor neurons through the central nervous system. The connection is with the muscles. Then because of the movement of sodium potassium ions, we get the electrical activity in the muscles. That is the major help to the contraction of the muscles. We get the signals in the form of, which is a random wave over here. What we see is a wave. That wave is just like a random vibration we get from the muscles. As the force is applied on the muscles, we get an electrical activity. That activity is acquired. If we want to see the raw signals, we see this activity. If we want to filter it, we can filter low pass or high pass, because generally the recommendation is having 50 to 500 hertz or 50 to 100 hertz EMG signals. But nowadays high frequency modulation is also applied in EMG signals, and we are going for 2000 or 4000 hertz signal we are acquiring, and we are trying to understand what happens when the frequency is taken high in the sampling of EMG. When the signal is rectified, we get a signals are rectified, or we can say RMS signals of this, which gives us two informations. One is amplitude and the other is frequency. Amplitude is generally tells about the efforts a particular muscle make, and frequency tells us about the fatigue. These parameters help us in taking the help of the muscles. Some of the studies we have used EMG signal as a support signal for prosthetics, for rehabilitation, for developing the assistive devices. So when we do develop the assistive devices, we try to make an advantage of different strategies. One strategy is that we can take signal from two muscles, muscle 1 and muscle 2, and the action potential, or rather the EMG activity of that muscle, if it is high zone and the other one is in a resting phase, we consider it a hand open operation. If both are in resting, we can take it off. When the other muscle is active and the first one is not active, we consider it hand closed. And this is one of the strategy for developing EMG prosthetics. The other simple strategy is that you select the muscles, you consider the studies, you find out a specific muscle which can be responsible for a particular gesture, and the amplitude is maybe directly relation with that. And that is the same which we can see in this signal, where the signal is getting high. If you draw the RMS pattern of the signal, which is very directly proportional to the force applied, and the same thing can be converted in the form of what we consider as the motor action or the control of the motor activities. So this is what we see over here. This is RMS value of the signal. With respect to that, we can make a maximum rotation of the motor and the minimum rotation of the motor, and this at the level of the EMG values, RMS EMG values. This is upper limit, this is lower limit. When the muscle potential or the electrical activity crosses this point, we give a rotation to the motor. If it goes down, we give a negative rotation, then positive rotation, negative rotation, positive rotation, and that way we control the motor used in assistive devices. Now, doing all these things, we require 3-4 basic steps. One is EMG measurement of the signal, that is very important. Then segmentation of the data as per the gestures or the steps or elements of the particular action. For example, lifting hand, moving, reaching, grasping, releasing, all those kind of activities. Then extraction of the features. Features, what we consider, are nothing but statistical parameters. Statistical parameters may be RMS value, maybe mod value, maybe variance, maybe some combination of these features, which gives us an idea that what are the properties of the signals. Then we classify these into the action. We correlate these, the pattern or the format or the change in these statistical parameters, which are called as features. We map them with respect to the particular action of the hand motion or the motion of any particular joint. So if that mapping, that classification is obtained with high accuracy we test by applying the raw data on the logic which was developed based on the closeness to the parameters with respect to the action which we want to obtain. If accuracy is high, we go to implement that strategy into the motor control, and that motor control is basic mechanism for assistive device. This is what the structure you can see there. We can acquire the signal from the muscles. The signal is in this form. If there are 4 muscles, more signals. If there is 1 muscle, there may be less signals. Then these muscle signals can give us a different pattern of the features, which would be easier than the raw signal to understand by the computer, by the logic programs and or the whatever it is. Then we classify as per the actions what happens if one of the feature or all the combination of the features gives a particular pattern, whether it is gripping, whether it is elbow motion, whether it is a flexion of the wrist, radial ulnar deviation. So we can classify accordingly. So these things help us in developing the prosthetic device. In the present study, we want to more concentrate on what is known as the action of grasping using a pinch grip action. So in this pinch grip action, we want to see if we want to see the background, there are 3 types of devices generally used: prosthetics, orthotics, which are implanted, exoskeletons. Nowadays, exoskeletons are playing very vital role that can energize the action, that can provide the rehabilitations, that can provide extra power to the human skeleton. This is based on the action of the grasshopper or tortoise. So they have exoskeletons. So humans are trying to get the exoskeletons that may be used in army, they may be used in heavy labor work. So as an ergonomist, I can say it can be useful for heavy labor work. So in daily activities of daily life or daily living has many studies based on brain signal processing, based on muscle signal processing, but very less phenomena is found in the surface EMG or surface or skin based studies. So because skin is giving some of the receptions, feedback systems, so we want to go for some kind of hybrid systems which can have a understanding of the receptors and also the understanding of the EMG signals. This is what the structure we are trying to implement in this study. This is a structure of bionic arms or assistive devices. What we see here, bionic hand, this is nothing but the hand which is an assistive device based on EMG signals. Michelangelo hand, this is nothing but the first hand developed assistive device developed based on the thumb pressures. iLIMB, first commercially bionic arm. CalArm is the first commercial Indian developed bionic arms. So these are based on, most of them are based on muscle signals, but there are very less studies found on the skin based signal processing. So because skin is just like receptors of pressures, receptors of forces, and other feedback systems we can acquire from the skin. So skin also gives us certain feedbacks. So we want to um, hybrid these two signals, these two informations, so that we can run the prosthetic device more accurately than what it is in the present form. In the literature, we have found some of the studies giving information about gripping actions in prosthetics. One was from Jitroy. The force classification is performed based on surface EMG. The other one was Agriomallo's force level classifications. So classification, as we were doing in EMG signals, mapping of the actions with respect to the features of the signal, the same thing could be applied for force information or information of the force sensors, which we might place on the fingertips or tips of the assistive devices. Anything is possible. That is why we are trying to have this kind of logic to be implemented in assistive devices. These are 3-level force classification study by Timoney. Then there are similar other studies which work on digit force. We are generally sometimes call it digit force also, which is nothing but a pinch force. So there are studies based on one of the study found by Fix, which analyzed the human grasping behavior for precision grasp 60% of the time. 90% of the object grasps were of mass less than 500 grams. Very small objects of 2 to 3 centimeter diameter or weight were used, but here we have used a cylindrical object where we can put different levels of weight in our study. Now I am coming to the structure of our study, which I am going to present in a very few minutes. EMG based prosthetics integrated with digital force signals. So there is force signals that is giving much quicker information than EMG signals. So identification of the features from the force, then pattern recognition, then data acquisition, feature extraction, classification. This all require a different kind of approach to be implemented, either ANN or neural network approach, where different classifiers of ANN, KNN, many classifiers may have tried and some of them had given a better results. Then optimization of the muscle combination and counts, optimization of feature set and classifiers. These things gave us an integration of force signals with EMG signal, that is hybrid approach, or my students are trying to implement this hybrid approach of force signal as well as EMG signal to make a better efficiency in assistive devices. This is understanding the digital force behavior of different gestures and weight levels, which were the basic experimental setup in our study. Role of the skin was used as a feature, as a signal that can hybrid the EMG signals to make assistive devices as a better performer. Designing of the force. Now for this purpose, a setup was designed in the lab. This is in-house development of the system with the help of NI MyRio, integration of the data with the computer. In this flexi strain resistors sensors were used. These are pressure sensors basically, and these pressure sensors sense the pressure and gives in the form of voltage, and these are rubber surface were placed over that so that there may not be the other surfaces hindrance, or we could get the better results of the pressure. So these some rubber surface was used as a point to get the proper area where the pressure has to be recorded from. So this is a circuitry diagram of the study where we are getting this whole system connected to the computer using the NI MyRio data card. So this card helped us to integrate with this, and LabVIEW programming was used to write down the the code VI in program in LabVIEW, and that helped us in assisting. So there were a variation of 0 to 4.5 voltage which was mapped with the 0 to 10 Newton force level based on the pressure calculations. These two gestures were tested in this study. One was index finger and thumb involved, and in this two index finger, middle finger and thumb were involved. So there were two gestures and 4 weight levels were tested in this study. If you see here, this is the experimental setup where pressure sensors were attached to the fingers. This is a weight where different weights were put in depending upon the condition. The gestures were shown on the screen to the subject. The experimenter were recording the signals which were going through the MyRio up to here, and these signals were recorded over here. But these were the instructions which were displayed in the LabVIEW code to the subject as well. These are EMG sensors placed on muscles. This is experimental protocol in which experiment was conducted for 14 to 16 seconds, and this prepared the subject 2 seconds, 3 seconds for gesture to grasp the subject, 8 seconds for starting to lifting the weight. Here the crucial phenomena what we found, first see this is just a display of the activity. Here the time was managed by this pattern. So this was recording of the one trial. When this force was recorded in this, what we see the pattern over here, this is a detection of the starting of the gripping activity. Some spikes are coming up. We are studying it, still not sure about this particular point, but we are sure about this point that the pressure goes high and then it is stable down, which we consider as a lifting force, but this point is called as grasping or gripping force. So initially the grip force is higher, then it settles down depending upon the weight of the object, and that is what we call lift force, and then it gives a pattern. So we get 2 points considered in this study. One is considered called as lift force and other is called as grip force. This is the general pattern we get in all subjects in all trials. So gesture 1, when we analyze the results of the data based on the correlation, we found that weight was highly correlated. It was significantly correlated with grip force as well as lift force, what we see in the next slide. For gesture 2, where index finger, middle finger and thumb were used for the pinch grip action, the weight was also correlated, significantly correlated with all the finger force or finger pressures. This is a correlation of gesture 2, where the correlation of finger force with grip force with respect to finger index force, grip force with respect to middle finger index force, we see that there are some high correlations. You can see high correlations and some low correlations. These are low correlations. You can see low correlations, but some are high correlations. They all were significant, but some were low correlations and some were high correlations. So we analyze these important intricacies of the results. What we see that with respect to the change of the weight, the grip force was stabilized. As the force was getting more, then grip force variation was low. Here the variation was quite high, what we see in the box plot, but variation was going down when the weight was more. The same pattern was seen in the lift force also using the box plot. This is a pattern of index, middle and thumb fingers, grip force and lift force, but for that was for what we see, that was for index finger and thumb. But for index finger, middle finger and thumb, what we see for this is somewhere the pattern was found. For index finger, the pattern for the lift force was varied for higher force, for higher weight, So that phenomena is quite interesting to understand or further to investigate why it is happening that index finger, middle finger is giving more variation in gripping, but index finger is giving more variation in lifting, so at higher weights. So these phenomena were understood. What we see is with respect to the force, that as the weight was increased, the difference of the grip force for different weight was less, however the lift force difference was more. So that is quite understandable, but it is very useful information. When we see with respect to the force for middle finger and gesture 2, if we see for gesture 2, then we found a reverse pattern, that grip force for middle finger varied more. That was the starting force, but it varied less when the object was already lifted. So these are some of the conclusions, that correlation between grip and lift force with respect to index finger were high, and high correlation between grip force and index finger, grip force of index finger and middle finger, moderate correlation of lift force in index finger and middle finger. So these informations were used and tried to find out the accuracy of correlation in the gestures as well as the information we are getting from the signals. So in the future implications, we might consider this system as an important system, and this hybrid approach is very important to get the force information. We had also implemented in this in sit to stand as stand to sit task, where the pressure on the force plates were used as an information to hybrid the muscle signals from thigh and leg muscles, and these were used for assistive devices for rehabilitation of the knee. So this was our approach, where this identification of features were used. It was hybrid with the force information. This hybrid information of force and EMG signal were used. When this was applied, we found that there was a significant 5% increment in the accuracy of the output. So accuracy is, if obtained more, then definitely we could be confident that if assisted devices are made on or developed on these strategies, they will give better accuracy, better performance. With all these words, I could say that these are some of the important references used in this study. I could say that this is all I wanted to share the knowledge with you, and I could say good luck to all of the participants. Thanks for bearing with me to listen this study, and I hope that you can take advantage of this with your peers or your students. If any questions, they are most welcome. Thank you very much. Good luck for the grand success of the conference. Thank you. Thank you, organizers.